That was a staple for me growing up.
Windmill Bakery?
The Windmill Bakery. All right, we're live.
Well, hi, everyone.
Hello. We're taking canvas on the road right now. I am in the John Martin mobile. John Martin himself is driving us to the Vanderburgh County 4-H grounds to check out one of the more popular voting locations in our county.
Yeah, along with Washington Square Mall, it seems like, by reputation anyway, we were just talking, none of us have ever been to the 4-H Center on Election Day, but it has a reputation of being one of the most popular voting spots in the county, along with Washington Square. So we're going to go see for ourselves here in a few minutes.
Since this is a county election year, this is a presidential election year, of course, but this is a county election year. And the 4-H grounds are in the county. It's right by Darmstadt. It's an area that has a heavy voter turnout, usually dedicated people who care about hitting the ballot box. So I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk with a bunch of voters who might be pretty knowledgeable about the issues. We'll see what made them come out to the ballot box today.
Well, and two, I would think, since we've got a Vanderburgh County Commissioner spot, thinking locally for a second before we get into the presidential stuff, but Vanderburgh County Commissioner spot on the ballot, a Republican primary that's been hotly contested, we'll say, might be interesting to see how this part of the county votes in that race.
Who's on that?
That is Brenda Bergwitz, Alex Schmidt, and Cheryl Musgrave. Alex Schmidt is a young man by me, maybe not by you guys.
I think he's older than me. So.
But he's a first-time candidate who has campaigned very hard, and he's obviously has the high-profile backing of Mayor Winnicke and his political operation. Cheryl Musgrave is obviously a well-known name here. She's been in politics for a long time. She was a county commissioner at one time and is running to regain that position. And Brenda Bergwitz is the third candidate. It would be an upset if she were to pull it off, but it's certainly, as far as Musgrave and Schmidt are concerned, it's been a pretty contentious primary, and the rural part of the county, of course, will have a lot to say in who wins that.
Very interesting. Now, I know that we're going up to the Darmstadt area, but there's also a more inner-city race involving the District 77 House race. John, you've been covering that.
I have. It's an open seat, and I'm going to turn down our radio here. We've been listening to the local political commercials aired by our friends at Wiki today. But that race has 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans, all of whom are running to replace Gil Rican in the legislature. It is a district where the Democrats have a pretty significant natural advantage. In fact, I'm not sure a Republican has ever been elected to that seat. But Brandon Ferguson, who is a union pipe fitter, Lori Sherman, who's an attorney in the Department of Child Services, she and Ferguson are both first-time candidates, actually, as is Ryan Hatfield. They all are. Ryan Hatfield is a deputy prosecutor, and the phrase I used in the paper today was because of his family connections. He's the most politically connected of the 3, and probably would be considered the favorite to win, but we'll see how it comes out. And then on the Republican side, you got Johnny Kincaid, who's been in radio for a long time here, was in charge of smoke-free communities at one time, pretty well-known guy. Henrietta Jenkins and Reverend Billy Garrett, those are the 3 Republicans running for that seat. So we'll know at the end of the day who's going to be running in the fall to replace Gil Rican.
Now, Zach and I were talking about this earlier. With this being a overwhelming, there are a lot of Republican undercard races versus Democrat races. Would that have any effect at all? And what type of effect would it have on the 77th race?
I still think in District 77 it's going to be the Democrats' race to lose.
Sure.
In all honesty. I think whoever emerges from that primary between Ferguson, Hatfield, and Sherman will be in a pretty strong position to win. Like I said, I would give if Johnny Kincaid is the Republican candidate, he does have some name recognition, and I'm sure that he would campaign aggressively, but it definitely has a Democratic bent. Just as an example of that, we talked about Cheryl Musgrave a minute ago. She challenged Gil Rican 2 or 3 cycles ago. I can't remember which. It's, I think, been 4 years. That would have been 2 cycles ago. Cheryl Musgrave campaigned very, very aggressively for that position, and it came up short. So she was a very strong candidate and couldn't quite pull it off. So it's a district where the Democrats, no matter the circumstances, seem to have an upper hand.
Speaking of just for the primary today, though, since the Republican ticket is more contested in terms of local races and the presidential race, I think turnout will be higher for the Republican primary than Democratic primary. And I think that'll benefit likely Johnny Kincaid in that District 77 race because of the name recognition. Am I wrong, John?
No, certainly. And in talking to Johnny Kincaid last week, I think he feels pretty confident. He feels pretty confident that he's going to prevail today over Henrietta Jenkins and Reverend Billy Garrett. A lot of names in our heads right now at this time of year.
Do you know where we're going?
Coming up on the 4-H Center.
Okay. But do you know where we're going when we get there?
No, actually, no.
Well, I guess this will be a test of our county election infrastructure. We can see if there's signage that lets us know where to go, because we don't come up here.
I would assume, fellas, I've been to the Night of Memories before that they do up here every year, and there's a meeting room type of venue for that, kind of a large meeting room with the stage. I assume that's where the voting machines are. Okay. But we'll see.
We'll find out. And just to let everybody know who's maybe tuned in late or just now tuning in, I'm Zach Evans. I'm a reporter with the Courier and Press. This is John Martin. He's also a Courier and Press reporter. We've been covering this election. Manning the camera is Noah Stubbs. Noah, why don't you pan back to yourself for a moment?
I'm fine.
Okay.
People can hear my voice.
All right, we're out. Yeah, like we just said, we're headed to the Vanderburgh County 4-H Center for the voting center they have out here in the county. It's a well-populated voting center, so we'll see if we can talk to some voters, learn about what issues they care about, what made them want to come out today to vote.
Of course, it's been a really exciting season with the presidential race going on, and the whole spotlight pretty much nationally is on Indiana today. I think there might be one other contest, but it's and we're coming up on the train, so we'll have some more time to talk here. But it's been quite a week and quite a campaign season that we've had, with not one but of course both presidential primaries being contested. A lot of high-profile visits. As recently as yesterday, Bernie Sanders was here trying to still close the gap here at the 11th hour with Hillary Clinton. And of course, I think it's fair to say, fellas, Ted Cruz is pretty much all in when it comes
Ted Cruz,
to Indiana.
As he said today, he's staring into the abyss, and Indiana voters, the only thing that can keep him from falling into the brink, I believe, is a paraphrase of his quote.
Goodness.
So he's really putting, we got a train horn coming up, so maybe I'll save my point for a moment until this train passes. But we're just nearing the edge of the Darmstadt town limits.
That train is coming awful slow too, fellas.
It looks like it's slowing as it's...
Well, that's a safety feature, right? That's they don't want to come barreling through a intersection.
Zach is a Bob Dylan fan, as am I, and he had an album called Slow Train Coming, and this is
the definition of slow train coming.
Talking about Ted Cruz, though, you think back, even his wife made the campaign debut here, and I guess that's been 10 days ago at the headquarters.
Doesn't feel like 10 days ago.
Yeah, it's been almost that. So his wife was here, and then of course he did a rally 2 days later on a Sunday evening at Old National Events Plaza, which has sort of been our Grand Central station here in Evansville for political candidates in the last week or so. He was here, and then he came back. By the end of last week, he was at the Pie Pen on Friday night, and then he was here as the polls are open today in Indiana. He was at Wolf's Barbecue. Our Tom Langhorne and a cast of others went up to see him there. So he's all in. He's really trying hard to close the rumored gap with Donald Trump. I think the most recent poll I saw had Trump ahead.
Yeah, there's been two. There was the NBC poll you quoted, John, in your story, I think, that gave Trump a 14, 15-point lead. Then there was another one, I believe, from Gravis that gave Trump a 17-point lead. I would, polls aren't always the most accurate. This election has been plagued by spotty polls and spotty exit polls, but I feel like it's safe to say that Trump might edge one out again here in Indiana in what will be Cruz's last stand, though he still has California if he wants to really dig into the Donald to set himself up for a contested convention, giving him a shot at a second or third ballot win for the GOP nomination.
We'll see, and of course, Trump did an event here as well. Of course, everyone knows that a week or so ago, and he had hands down a larger turnout than than Ted Cruz has. We've arrived at the 4-H Center. We see the bevy of signs for all the different candidates greeting us here.
Well, let's see what we can get away with here. Hey, there's Denny Simmons. Courier and press photographer Denny Simmons talking on the phone. LA Dodgers hat. We think we should just hang out, wait for people who've already voted to come out?
Oh, I suppose so. Well, let's at least go in and see what kind of lines there are.
Can I get in there with that?
Okay. How long has this been going on? I mean, I've been here 16 years. I've never had it.
Not bad at all. Here at the 4-H Center, we're seeing a moderate but workable line.
Much smaller than the Washington Square Mall line we've been hearing about on social media today.
And this is what democracy looks like, and certainly what we've all been waiting for the last several days with all these candidate visits.
How many hours we got left? We got, what was it, 1:37? 4.5 hours until the polls close. The results will pour in pretty quickly over the next hour and a half from 6 to 7:30. And we'll probably get a pretty quick idea, since this is all electronic voting here, about what the results are.
Yeah, I will be real curious, Zach, on the presidential side, to see once the polls do close in Indiana, how long the networks take to make calls. I wouldn't think there would be quick calls tonight.
Right. I don't know. I'd be surprised. I mean, most of the state is in Eastern time zones. So that means 5 o'clock our time. Those polls will be closing. Some CNN and AP have been pretty quick to draw in states where the exit polls indicate a favored winner, or the polls leading up to the election have indicated a favored winner. So I don't know. I think we'll see. Hello.
Right here.
Who do we want to grab?
Let's somebody who doesn't look like they have places to be.
Yeah, that's true.
He's making a beeline out of here. Hello, man. We're with the Courier and Press. We're just doing a live interview right now. Camera's off, you don't worry. We're just trying to talk to voters about what made them want to come out to vote today, what issues you care about. Do you mind speaking with us?
Yeah, I don't think I want to. Thank you, though.
Okay, you're welcome. Appreciate it. Hello. We're with the Courier and Press. We're doing interviews just with voters about what issues they care about that made them want to come out.
We got to go.
Gotta go.
Gotta go? No, it's okay. We're try again. All right, we're with the Evansville Courier and Press. We're just interviewing people about what made them want to come out to vote today. Do you mind just talking with us?
Well, it's a privilege to vote, and I would vote every election.
You do?
I've never missed an election, so
And how old are you, sir?
75.
75. That's a lot of elections.
Yeah, a lot of elections.
Is there any particular issue, though, this year that is pressing on you compared to other elections?
No, this is probably one of the worst campaigns I've ever seen, about as far as, cutting one another down and all. I wish I'd work on the issues and not slander the other person.
Yeah. It has been pretty nasty.
It has been. I mean, there hasn't been any.
Did you find that to be true just on the presidential side, or was it more?
Well, the presidential side took up everything. You didn't
Yeah.
very few state or anything even on TV.
Yeah. Did you feel like coming in that you knew a lot about the undercard races, or was it mostly
They're just the local ones. And most of the time, whenever they vote some of the state stuff, ask about the judge and all that, I just don't vote on because I don't know anything about who they are. I wouldn't know how it'd be casted. That's in an election.
Gotcha.
All right, well,
Thanks
you.
so much for
Thanks.
talking
Yeah.
with us.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much. This might be a good time to remind you, if you are still coming out to vote before the end of the day and you want to learn more about the candidates who are further down the ballot, CourierPress.com Election Center has questions and answers posted with the candidates who are running for state representative, state senator, and Vanderburgh County Commissioner. So
And also
that's-
Warwick County too.
And Warwick,
Warwick
yeah,
County.
that's right.
We cannot not mention Warwick
Our
County.
buddy Shannon Hall, who I know is out there watching, would be very upset that we forgot Warwick County. But all of those lower down the ballot races, or most of them, we have questions and answers posted with candidates. You can learn more about them before you come to vote, if you're still coming to vote today.
We'll make a shot for talking to maybe one or two more voters if we don't mind sticking around, Noah.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe go outside
We
or
can step
just?
outside. It might,
Yeah.
be, might be more inviting if we're outside too. But it's not surprising to hear somebody say that this has been a nasty election, and that the presidential talks have dominated the election news cycle in the last 2 weeks. So I bet we'll hear a lot of that.
And sometimes if you are in a situation like that, one of the further down the ballot races, it makes it that much more difficult to get your voice heard sometimes.
Just doing interviews with people who voted about what issues they care about the mail money from us. I'm not interested. All right, thank you.
We are up here in the Darmstadt area, and one thing we didn't mention in the car, we talked about District 77, that race for the State House in the city of Evansville. Up here in this part of Vanderburgh County, as well as the all of Gibson County and pockets of Pike and Posey, there is another state representative race, a Republican primary between Tom Washburn, who's an incumbent who's been in for two-year terms now, 4 years total. He has a Republican primary opponent named Ann Ennis, who's been involved in Keep Evansville Beautiful and some nonprofits around here. She campaigned very hard on the education issue, and up here at Darmstadt today, we've seen supporters and signage for both Tom Washburn and Ann Ennis.
I was going to say I was driving 2 weeks ago up in the Darmstadt area, and I did see several Ann Ennis signs.
She has been very aggressive. She truly has. I don't live up in this area, so I don't have firsthand knowledge, but from talking to people, it does seem like she's campaigned aggressively and has a lot of signs out trying to get her name in. So,
Let's see if we can
and
find.
Dave Simmons is with us, Courier and Press photographer. What have you been seeing out here today? You just got back from Ted Cruz.
Absolutely
did you not?
nothing. We're not allowed to photograph in here without washer credentials.
Oh, well, I just did.
That's why I just told them that we were in there recording live video.
Yeah, well, I guess
So
I
it was
stand out
confusing.
more. I don't know.
What did Ted
It's
Cruz
the Dodgers hat.
What did Ted Cruz have to say today when he was at
We
at,
didn't speak.
Wolves? You didn't speak?
Ted and I did not speak.
But he made some remarks, did he not?
He did, and I could not quote him because I could paraphrase him. But I basically just saw him getting in his car and leaving.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Was he with Carly Fiorina?
He was not when I saw him.
Huh.
She
That's
may have
interesting.
gotten stuck in the kitchen or something. The place was pretty packed.
How packed was it?
It was.
How
it,
packed was it?
it was mighty packed. I'd say there were probably 100 people in there, maybe more, possibly. But it was kind of a pack of probably more. Well, I would say more media, but there's a whole lot of media.
Yeah.
Yeah, following him around.
So Ted Cruz himself was here 3 times, and his wife was here another time. So obviously, we were talking in the car. He's very much all in as far as Indiana is concerned, trying to knock off Mr. Trump and get some momentum going for his campaign for the Republican convention this summer. So
I would concur with what he just said.
Well, do you want to try to talk to one more person on their way out?
Sure, yeah.
well, we can also come and talk to these volunteers here who are
Sure.
hard working for their.
Why don't you guys go do that? I'm going
For
to see
their
if I can grab us
candidates.
some people.
Yeah.
She's one of the Ted Cruz red hat.
You got it done? Oh, good.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for coming out.
We're from the Evansville Courier and Press. We're just touring polling places. We were just talking about Ann Ennis, who's challenging Tom Washburn, incumbent Republican in House District 64 up here. I know that I've talked to Ann, I know she's working really hard and
Yes.
has beaten the bushes trying to win that race.
And she's got a lot of teachers behind her. The Evansville Teacher Union is behind her.
And she's really hit the education issue
Right.
awful hard.
Right. Yep.
That'll be one to watch tonight as the results
Yes,
roll
it
in.
will.
Connie Carrier, we have not talked about the race for Vanderburgh County Clerk. Connie Carrier and Carla Hayden are running together on the Republican side, and I'm going to mispronounce his name, I know, but Zachary Hieronymus.
Hieronymus, I think it is.
Hieronymus.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
You say Hieronymus, I say Hieronymus. Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah.
And the other candidate there is Elliot Howard, a young man who I've met before. So those are the two Democrats, and Carla and Connie are the two Republicans running for the all-important Vanderburgh County Clerk position. They, among other things, put on the elections and issue marriage licenses and do many different important functions. And we also didn't talk about the primary for Congress. Larry Bouchon, incumbent Republican congressman for 3-4 terms, maybe now. They all kind of run together. Dr. Richard, I think he's a doctor, right?
Dr.
Richard Moss is challenging him in a Republican primary today, and there are a couple of Democrats on the other side of that also running for 8th District Congress. So a lot of things to consider today. A lot of important offices and a lot of important responsibilities, and the polls are open until 6.
Let's see what Zach's doing.
And let's find Zach.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks.
Oh,
Evansville Courier
everyone's
and Press.
courier.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should have introduced ourselves. I'm John.
This is
Did at the
yeah.
beginning. You just said it very quickly.
Yeah.
Because they keep saying he had people,
Courier Press.
It's funny how we all just
he
showed
had
up.
people around him, you know, that was handling things.
I don't want to be in the
Well,
paper.
me,
It's okay. So you guys from around here?
Yeah, well, they're right down there.
Right, this area. This gentleman here actually met Trump in Atlantic City when he was building the Taj Mahal some 20 plus years ago.
Atlantic City.
Yeah, Atlantic City.
I'm sure he remembers you.
Pardon?
We probably would, yeah.
But I mean, other than your experience meeting him, what made you actually want to vote for him, make him presidential candidate?
I just believe that he can do the job. And he's built an empire, and I just like Trump.
Did you get a chance to see him when he was in town last week?
No, I didn't.
Didn't get a chance, yeah.
No, matter of fact, we had a couple of doctor's
but you know what?
appointments. and
I've been here 16 years and nobody's ever
But that was a long time ago, but I've kept up as I traveled these coasts a lot.
Did you vote for any down ballot races, the smaller local races, county commissioner, stuff like that? Did you get involved, knowledgeable about that?
We voted for Bouchon, and we really, I don't want to know how she voted.
Of course.
Probably killed my vote. Right?
Should offset your vote. All right.
My wife and I have counteracted each other several times too. So,
I know we could kill her.
but it's always important to come participate.
Oh, yeah, you gotta get.
Okay, well, if you don't vote, you can't stand.
Yep. There you go.
Thank you,
Thanks a
sir.
lot, man.
Thanks.
So much.
Is he taking pictures?
He's taking video.
Am I gonna be on TV?
No,
No.
not on TV. See you guys. Thank you. Not on TV, but online. Well, where are we going next, John? You get the car. We talked about going to the Southern Indiana Career and Technical Center. I
Good.
believe. That's on the way.
That's the vote center. That's perfect.
By the way, Warwick County reporter Shannon Hall said, "Aw, you guys mentioned Warwick County."
That's the only time we're mentioning it.
Well, I would say a good group of voters here at the 4-H Center. A pretty steady. I don't even want to say a steady trickle because it was more than that. It was
Yeah, actually, as we were there, I feel like more were coming in than were leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, not surprising that a lot of people didn't want to talk to us about why they came out to vote. People are very secretive about, I'm not asking people who they voted for. But understandably, people don't want to disclose that information. It's a private thing. I understand.
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely, and we all look like pretty shady characters, and I wouldn't trust us either.
Well, and I think the idea of a live stream or any type of video is it's people aren't used to it
Yeah.
at the polls.
Sure, nobody likes being put on the spot. But we'll see if we can hear from more voters, maybe get a more representative idea of what people are thinking about today. It's stuff we kind of expected to hear, nasty race, voting for Trump because, and the people voting for Trump because of what he stands for.
It is nasty, and it gets to a point sometimes, Zach, maybe you feel this way, where you wonder, particularly in the age of social media, why people want to subject themselves to this type of thing.
Or to run for office?
Yeah,
or something?
it can be a deterrent. It seems like to trying to get people to run because the world today is so nasty. Everybody has their own megaphone with social media, but having said that, I mean, despite that, you still need good people to step forward.
We need public servants. We need
Yep.
public servants, but every stone does not go unturned, or whatever I'm trying to say there. I can't. But basically, people are going to find out about it because it's all out in the open nowadays with the internet. And then again, you're going to get feedback from people directly through social media or online that maybe you don't want to hear. And people have that veil of anonymity, so they maybe are more ruthless in their attacks against you. You read a lot of nasty comments on just our website. Not so much anymore, I guess, but you still see them. That can mess with a person's psyche. You're dealing with that for months on end, and then if you're elected, you got to deal with that for between 2 to 6 years, depending on your office. It's a heavy burden, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a viewer from Ukraine. Thanks for watching us, and thanks for writing us as well. If you have a question we're expecting to meet at least a few candidates. If you just have a general question that you would like to ask a candidate, or you have a question that you would like to ask us, please feel free to message us. If you're in YouTube, just use the comments. If you are on Twitter or on our election live stream on our website, you can just tweet at me at Noah Stubbs, NOAHSTUBBS, and we'll try to answer questions.
Yeah, surprised there was no candidates out there.
I was too. I was just looking at Twitter this morning. It looked like Cheryl Musgrave and Alex Schmidt, the county commissioner candidates we talked about earlier, both of them were at Washington Square Mall. Thought that one of them might have been out here, but of course it's a 12-hour voting block too, and we were only here for a half hour thereabouts. So,
this might be the midday break for candidates. Honestly, they get up early and they'll maybe come out at the end of the night and then go to their respective parties to celebrate bringing the vote.
Could be. I've even heard that at some point in the afternoon, the candidates might actually take a little bit of a nap, which is understandable if you get up at 6 in the morning and you're planning on staying up very late too to see how the results come out.
Yeah, we took the other approach of just sleeping in and coming into work at noon.
That's right. None of us are on the ballot today, fortunately for all concerned.
That's right.
Doesn't John Webb usually do this gig with you in election
He
day?
did it I think it was just the one time, right?
Just the one time, yeah.
The mayoral election, the city elections in 2015. We had a good time. We ran into a lot of people. CSX is doing some serious work right now on this railroad, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to go.
They are working on the railroad all the live long day, and
well, let's talk about, while we're just parked here, I jotted down some figures about turnout. I don't have any updates so far about how many people have come out, other than I know at 10 a.m. the total amount of people who had voted today in that 4-hour window was 11,000 people. They add that together with the early voters, which was 7,700 people, and that's 18,000 people, almost 19,000 voters. That is already more than the amount of voters we had in the 2012 primary. Now, that wasn't a contested presidential year. It was the Republican nomination had been clinched by Romney at that point, and obviously Barack Obama was the incumbent, so we didn't have a contested Democratic primary. I can't recall the exact local elections that year being too contentious, but I don't know if you remember, John.
Not off the top of my head, all the cycles kind of run together, but from what I was hearing yesterday with the early voting, pretty much exactly that it was running behind, or ahead of the pace of 4 years ago, but still a little bit behind of 8 years ago when you had Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama fighting for the Democrat nomination.
Yeah, so 8 years ago, 2008, we had that race that brought candidates once again to Evansville, like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and their friends and family. And it was a year we had a pretty high turnout. I think we had 45,407 people in the 2008 primary. Whether we're on pace to eclipse that, I don't know, but I can say it's going to be a pretty high turnout for a primary. We have Indiana, I think, what was it, in 2014, we were the lowest in the country in terms of percentages of turnout. Hopefully we're not the lowest again in 2016.
Yeah, I would be shocked if that was the case, given the importance of this presidential race in the state.
Yeah. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Splitting it down, breaking down the numbers, in 2008, we had 131,000 registered voters. 45,000 came out to vote, and 40,000 of those voters voted in the Democratic primary, obviously because it was a hotly contested primary. So we can see that a contested presidential race really does bring people out to vote. I mean, you can think of that anecdotally, but we have data that shows people really care about contested presidential elections in the primary cycle. Fast forward to 2012, there was 17,000 voters, and only 3,000 voted in the Democratic primary. So I would guarantee we're going to trump that, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
Exponentially.
Yeah.
And we're moving.
All right.
We talked about the president. We talked about Ted Cruz and all that he has invested in Indiana to try to basically, stop Trump, for lack of a better word.
The hashtag Never Trump.
Never Trump. On the Democrat side, and this is kind of on my mind, fellas, because we saw Bernie Sanders here just yesterday and saw the kind of crowd that he had at the old National Events Plaza. I'm wondering how that is going to come out. Statewide certainly, but also here in Vanderburgh County, because we had a visit by Bernie Sanders. We saw a ton of young people at that rally. I would guess, I would venture to say, probably a lot of first-time voters.
Definitely.
Or young voters, certainly. And I'm wondering if he can't step up here in Vanderburgh County and sucker punch Hillary Clinton a little bit. We didn't see Hillary Clinton.
Hillary didn't come. She hasn't visited the entire region. I'm not sure she visited the 8th district.
I'm not sure she did either. That's a great point. And I do know that she was in Indianapolis, did an appearance there and some interviews there. Our former, current, and now current colleague again, Chelsea Schneider, I think, sat down with Hillary Clinton, but she was absent from this part of the state.
She's ignoring it. Other than the brief stop by Bill Clinton, which was a private stop, only 80 people got to see him. Then there was an unannounced stop at Penny Lane, which had, maybe 100, 200 people crowding Second Mulberry. But that's not a rally. There was nothing to that other than getting in the paper and shaking some voters' hands. It's not going to rally a base at all.
No, certainly not. And one of my curiosities about tonight as the elections come in is going to be how Vanderburgh County turns out for president on the Democrat side, given those things, given what we've seen here, the fact that Bernie Sanders came and had, by all accounts that I could tell, a good turnout and a successful event here. We didn't see Hillary Clinton. Certainly she will undoubtedly have some support here, but curious if Bernie Sanders could capture the state or capture this area.
Well, I'll make a bold prediction right now here at 2 o'clock, 4 hours for the polls, because I think Bernie Sanders will win Vanderburgh County, and I think he might narrowly win Indiana. The most recent polls give him a 4-point deficit between him and Mrs. Clinton, Secretary Clinton, but that is less than the margin of error, which was like 5%. So it's a tight race. It's anybody's call. This is going to be neck and neck. It's not as do or die for Bernie as it is for Ted Cruz. Bernie's, like Cruz, has probably been mathematically eliminated from winning the nomination, though there are some scenarios where it could be possible, though unlikely as it is. But it's a moral victory, of course. Even if he narrowly edges out Clinton, that'll be a big win for him in the media.
No doubt. It's also interesting listening to Bernie Sanders yesterday, and and in listening to Donald Trump the last week, they said you don't think of them as being one and the same. I mean, obviously their politics are different on probably 80 to 90% of the issues, but they both were in agreement. Sanders and Trump were. I think they both used the word rigged to describe the presidential nominating process in their parties. Both of them were very outspoken about that. And I just, in my head, I just thought that was interesting. These are two people who agree on virtually nothing, but yet we're in agreement that, in their opinion, the presidential nominating process is weighted toward establishment types of figures.
The party's choice, the inner party's choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different for both sides. I mean, the Democrats have super delegates, the Republicans have a different delegate system where we've seen Ted Cruz being able to woo delegates to his side because of Trump's lack of understanding of the Republican infrastructure. And Cruz is just trying to chip away at Trump's delegate lead to try to get to a contested convention. I think Bernie told me during my interview with him that he had...
You're on a first name basis now, Bernie?
Yeah. Well, this is the election where people are known by their first names. You had Jeb, ! Bernie. There's none. Last names are passe.
Like Prince.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Bernie was telling me, Senator Sanders was telling me that he has had about 45% of the pledged delegates to Secretary Clinton's 55%. However, Clinton has amassed some 90+% of the superdelegates to Sanders's less than 10%. So that is kind of troubling, though. If Bernie had edged out the popular vote and had more pledged delegates, they would, in most systems, the superdelegates go with the majority, I believe. So I don't think there's a coup within the party, but who knows? It's a complicated system. Why can't it just be, John, where I just vote for somebody and all those votes just count as one thing, and that person wins, they win? I don't know.
Yeah,
why can't that be the process?
It seems like in an ideal world that would be the case, but not everybody has the same definition of ideal world. So
that's true.
And I guess one thing it sounds like he was pretty adamant about, or at least that came through for me in his speech, was that Senator Sanders still is in the race to win the nomination and not just make a point or try to skew the party platform for the fall election toward his ideas.
He wants to win.
He's still in it to win it. I thought that came through pretty loud and clear in his event here yesterday.
Well, I don't put a lot of weight in these polls, but there are polls for the last few months, especially the ones coming out now, where you pit candidates against candidates in a mock general election. So you have what would the people vote for if it was Trump v. Sanders, Trump v. Clinton, so on and so forth. And Sanders does well against all the other candidates, more so than Hillary Clinton. Though you can't put a lot of stock into that, though, because we still have months of campaigning to do and debates and stuff like that between general election candidates. But it is interesting that it seems people have a very favorable view towards Bernie, but he is just not. People just aren't voting as much for him as they are for Hillary.
I'll make this observation too, and this is a positive thing for Evansville. We have had all of these visits. It's a very important election, a very contentious process, and we've been prominent in it for a change. We've had all these visits, and they all pretty much, Zach, and I think you would agree with this, and Noah, have gone off pretty much without a hitch. We haven't had
issues.
We haven't had. We've had some people scream nasty things at each other, but if that's
But you're gonna have that. You know you're gonna have that no matter what.
Yeah, if that's all it is, why you go home with a sore throat. But I mean, we haven't had, aside from one individual who I guess made the unfortunate decision to drop pants or something outside
Drop
the
trow.
Drop trow at the Trump
rally. We really have not had certainly no violent or grotesque misbehavior, and that's been a positive for me, because when you look at what's gone on around the country and some other places, that type of thing has gone on. So
we're in the national spotlight. I'd hate for Evansville to look like a bunch of fools because of some activity like that. So
right. So
it worked out well.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about it? I mean, if you just want to compare the dichotomy between Evansville and another location, when Trump came to Evansville, there was really no issues. Like we said, some back and forth between protesters and rally goers and mooning. An alleged mooning. She hasn't been convicted yet.
Alleged mooning, yes. That could be a band name.
That's, I'll write it down. But just hours later, Trump goes to California, and in Orange County, California, has a rally, and there is a violent protesters destroying a police cruiser and stuff like that. So I'm thankful that we didn't have that. I appreciate the spirit of really caring about issues, but I'm glad we didn't have that.
Yeah, we saw a lot of passion. A lot of strong feelings in our area, but it didn't divulge into anything nasty. So I think that's good on us and good on our tri-state too.
Well, while we're cruising by this, John, you were talking about overlap between Trump and Bernie, and right here to our left, Noah, is the old Whirlpool building, right? Whirlpool left Evansville 6 years ago for Mexico, leaving behind 1,100 jobs. Interestingly enough, Bernie and Trump both are in agreement that our trade agreements with various countries are ruining our manufacturing industry in this country and impacting Indiana. Carrier in Indianapolis was the focal point so far in the Indiana presidential election, but we have this right here to look at and remind us of what happened to our community within the Obama administration. Not that was Obama's fault, but both of those candidates are staunchly opposed to trade agreements, especially NAFTA and the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
There's a very, very clear similarity between Senator Sanders and Donald Trump, and it seems like trade is one of those things when you talk about establishment figures. Both the Bushes and the Clintons were staunchly in favor of NAFTA, and well, still are, I would assume. And then
I think Hillary is opposed to NAFTA now, and despite supporting the Trans-Pacific Partnership for so long, she is now against it. So
okay,
read into that what you will.
Her husband was all in on NAFTA when he was president, but the two anti-establishment candidates seem not to like the trade agreements that we've had, and have focused on the negative side of those, and certainly we've seen that around here.
Yeah.
Let's this is something that Tom Langhorn and I talked about a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the difference between the way that Trump is campaigning in Indiana and the way that Ted Cruz seems to be campaigning up until today in Indiana. Ted Cruz treating Indiana almost like an Iowa, going to small retail, doing small retail campaign hits. Trump taking more of the rock star approach. What do you guys think about that?
Well, it's definitely what he's doing, and as we said earlier, it's an all-in for Ted Cruz in Indiana. This is a state where you have a lot of evangelical voters, folks who believe very strongly in the social issues, who are opposed to abortion, opposed to gay marriage, very passionate about the Second Amendment, these sorts of issues, and having attended the rally that Ted Cruz had here and talking to those voters, those are the people that he's trying to reach and are desperately trying to get out to the polls in large numbers to try to topple Donald Trump. Of course, Donald Trump right now, against the wishes of a lot of folks in the party, right now has the most delegates and would be the odds-on favorite to get the nomination. So Ted Cruz is going to take a very Iowa one-on-one approach, doing everything he can to try to win Indiana today. And as I was telling these guys earlier before we started filming, I've got Wiki on today, and even here today, as the polls are still open, Ted Cruz is all over the radio with radio ads.
That's right. Sorry, I'm in the Twitter world right now. I'm looking at some issues going on at various voting centers. We might want to reroute ourselves to another location if you guys are interested.
Okay.
Are we not going to the Southern Indiana Career and Technical Center?
We might skip out on it if you guys want to go check out some potential issues.
Yeah.
Well, where are we headed?
We're going to head to Nativity Catholic Church on Pollock. You know where that's at?
Yes, I know where that is.
It's in the Tom Langhorn area where he lives.
Okay.
So we'll check that out.
All right.
And we're not really close to it, but we are on the eastish side right now, right?
Yeah, it'll take us a little bit to get there, but we can definitely head in that direction. direction. You can see if Noah wants to pan over the SICTC.
Hey, look at all the signs and the cars and the buses.
A lot of.
But this is also a normal school day for this location too. So.
What's going on at Nativity Church? Was there any indication?
Okay, so basically what it sounds like has happened is, so there's rules are that all voting center locations need to be handicap accessible for obvious reasons, correct? You know, you have to make sure people can get the right to vote. But apparently there is an elevator issue at Nativity, so people cannot have full access to that center. They're pushing them to the mall, which is nearby, but obviously a much more attended place. So let's see what's going on there. See if these social media reports are true. We'll find out.
All right.
How long have we been streaming, Noah?
We're here. We've been going for 45 minutes.
45 minutes. We're going strong.
Well, we can also stop by Washington Square since we're going to be in that area and see.
Yeah,
see
yeah,
if
we
there
can
are
close
any-
things
I
out.
can get Noble Romans.
I am a Noble Romans fan too. There used to be one on Washington Avenue there in Ross Center near the Martin household, and we missed that. So, and the Taco Embassy is now closed there too. It's just an events hall. So,
Well, you know, I just want to point out that we just drove by American Way, which is a road, and that just makes me feel very patriotic on this election day.
the American way.
The American Way.
That's what we're out observing today.
We're really in the thick of it, John. We're part of the press, and we're reporting on election day. That's pretty American, I'd say, right?
Yes, and it is a privilege to be able to do that, I do. So, should not take it for granted.
No, what should we talk about now?
Let's talk about Bouchon and Richard Moss.
Well, Richard Moss and Zach might want to weigh in here, and I just interrupted him. But Zach has done more on that race than I have. It would be a real shock if Larry Bouchon did not win this race today. He has faced.
It looks pretty.
Had to pay attention.
I didn't know if it was.
We're back.
Okay, we're back. We're apologize for the blip there.
We keep running into just bad cell areas. In the future, this is only the third time that we've actually done this. The second time on YouTube Live. So we'll continue to improve this process as we continue to have elections.
I need
So,
one of those cars that have the Wi-Fi built into it.
oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
Are you saying it's my car?
Hey, I'm not saying it, but it's implied.
The Duck Inn, we're just driving by the Duck Inn. That was a polling place at one time.
I didn't know that.
I had no
Several years
idea.
ago.
Yeah.
And because it is an establishment, I don't think it's still open. Maybe it is.
Oh no, it's not open.
No,
Maybe
yeah, it's been
Why
closed for,
It
yeah.
really needs to be demoed.
I didn't want to speak out of turn there. Didn't think it was, but it was a polling place at one time, and it was a source of some controversy because it was an establishment that sold alcohol. So a little bit of history for you there. The Duck Inn was a pretty well-known local watering hole in Evansville at one time. And we've arrived here at Nativity Church on Pollock, and we're going to pull in and see what's going on.
Sure. This guy's double parked because that's what you do with a truck in America.
Just eyeballing it right off, it looks like this is a pretty popular polling location today. We've got a line out the door to the fellowship hall or wherever in the church the voting location is.
Doing well. How are you?
And we see, hey, we've got a candidate here, friends.
We've got a couple.
Good to see Lori Sherman. I'm John Martin from the Courier and Press. We talked on the phone the other day. Lori Sherman is with us. We're live on CourierPress.com. Lori's running for the House District 77 seat, currently held by Democrat Gail Reekin. Mrs. Reekin is calling it a career after her term ends. How are you feeling today? This is your first time doing this.
You know, I feel really, really good. I've actually had people come up to me and say, I've never voted in my entire life, but I came out to support you. I've had people come up and ask to take pictures with me. I've had, actually had a lady actually start tearing up when I told her about my story and who I was. So I'm feeling pretty good. I can tell that my story is inspiring people, and that's what it's all about. I started this campaign with the slogan, it's not about politics, it's about the people. And I feel like, obviously, that's shown when people say, oh, you came to my neighborhood, you knocked on my door, you called me or whatnot. So I'm feeling pretty good today.
Lori is an attorney with the Department of Child Services, doing important work there, and she went to Glenwood Leadership Academy, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, at the time it wasn't Leadership Academy, it was just Glenwood Middle School.
At that time.
Yeah.
There you go. And then where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Omaha, Nebraska. I left after I graduated from Glenwood. My dad had a job in Omaha, and that's where I was emancipated. But I always had my eyes set on coming back to Evansville. Went to college in North Carolina, and graduated top of my class, got a full ride scholarship to law school in Bloomington, Indiana, and came home right after that.
So how are you feeling? How are you feeling today for first time doing this? A little bit of activity in the stomach, butterflies?
You don't know, actually, and it's so weird. It's an unreasonable peace, a peace that passes all understanding, so to speak, because I feel like I've worked really, really hard. With the budget that I had, I was able to do 2 community block parties. I was able to knock on doors, make phone calls, get t-shirts, do as much as I can. So I feel like I've done as much as I could do. I feel very confident. People are coming up to me and tagging me on Facebook, so I'm pretty confident in what I've done.
All right, well, we're going to move on. Lori, it's great to meet you in person. We've talked on the phone, and we wish you well today.
Thank you so much. It's good to meet you, too.
Thanks, Lori.
And one of Lori's competitors, there are 2 competitors in the Democratic primary for District 77, happens to be right down the sidewalk, Ryan Hatfield, who's talking to a couple of voters, and we'll talk to Ryan here in just a second as well.
Yeah, I guess Zach went inside to check out what was going on. I don't see him out here, so.
The 3 candidates in District 77 on the Democrat side, as we talked a little earlier this afternoon, are Lori, who you just met, Ryan Hatfield, who you'll meet in a minute, and Brandon Ferguson. So those are the 3 Democrats who are looking to replace Gail Reekin. There's a Republican contest as well. That's Johnny Kincaid, Henrietta Jenkins, and Reverend Billy Garrett. So right now we're going to go say hello to Mr. Ryan Hatfield.
How are we doing?
Live on CourierPress.com.
Great.
So watch your no cursing or.
Hi everybody, I won't curse.
Ryan is a deputy in the county prosecutor's office and has run a hard campaign. Your first time doing this?
It is my first time doing this, but we get boosted by all these volunteers. I don't know if you can see them, but we've got lots of volunteers out at all the polling places today, and we're working hard. We really believe that this is an opportunity to make a little difference in the world, and hopefully a lot of difference, but to make a change.
Ryan, talk about your family a little bit. I had the privilege of knowing your grandfather, who was a Pigeon Township assessor, Paul Hatfield, and was in the legislature at one time many years ago, I think back in the 50s or 60s perhaps.
He was.
As a state senator, and then your dad was a county Republican chairman. So even though you're a first-time candidate, you've been around politics for a while, have you not?
I've certainly watched the political process for a very long time. My uncle actually was the chairman of the party, and my grandfather was a state senator. And it's through them that I saw, I think, that you can use politics and use political positions to do good. My grandfather actually was responsible for the juvenile mental health facility that we have here in Evansville. And it's through work like that, and that's why I'm running. That's the sort of work that I want to be able to accomplish in the legislature.
Well, thanks for talking with us. Good luck.
Thanks so much.
We'll see how it goes when the votes come in. You'll be anxious to see that as well.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
It's been a great day. High turnout.
That's good.
High turnout is good.
You're seeing high turnout in places you've been?
High turnout both with Republicans and Democrats.
Good. That's what we like to see.
Voter participation is a good thing.
All right.
Hey, good to see you.
Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks so much.
Well, it's a stroke of good luck. We saw a couple of candidates here at Nativity Church on Pollock Avenue.
Zach and I have been here before, and that was at the city primary. And this was the location where we saw Missy and Steve Davis were both here. And that was a close
Yeah.
primary.
That would have been for 2nd Ward last year.
City Council.
And Missy Mosby won that by an eyelash.
Yeah.
Very, very close primary. What'd you find inside, Mr. Evans?
So what I've learned is that there is an elevator that typically leads down into the kitchen dining area where the voting ballot boxes are, but that elevator has been out of commission for at least a week. So they have this sign here that says, "Handicap voters, please go to the mall." But now they're directing them to go to Fairlawn since the mall line is so long. You cannot. There's no way you can get a wheelchair down there. I just spoke with a woman who has an oxygen tank, who said she's fine trucking down and walking the stairs, but she would typically use an elevator, but nothing's going to stop her. We don't really know who's been turned away or who's had to go somewhere else, but it's a pretty serious issue that there's not handicap accessibility to this voting center, I would think. So we need to talk to the county clerk and the party officials to get an idea of what's going on here.
Yeah, that would be something to ask the election board. You would think that...
I've known about this for a week.
Yeah, it might have been a little late in the game to try to change, but at the same time, you would think that all voting centers would be fully accessible for all individuals.
So that's what's happening here. The line is pretty good, though. It is moving pretty steadily.
Yeah. Well, just talking to Ryan Hatfield and Lori Sherman running for District 77, state representative, both of them said that they've seen good turnout. And Ryan made a point of saying, including among the Democrats, most of the action is on the Republican side, but he's seen a lot of Democrats as well. Of course, District 77, as we talked earlier, is predominantly a Democratic seat, or certainly has that bent here in the city limits. So, are we ready to move on to Washington Square
Sure,
Mall?
yeah, I think we are. Noah, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Don Mosby, good to see you.
I'm here. I've been.
We met last year.
Yeah, I've been. I moved out of the town.
All right.
Hatfield.
Yeah.
Buddy David, when he put the ones to him.
Right. So you're working for Mr. Hatfield and Mr. Hieronymus?
Yep.
Okay.
All the sign columns got there.
Yeah.
I got that. I try to get, the people here know that I've been here 30 years of community here. I coached Little League down there. And I told them guys I'll stop in down here. That's my granddaughter. On the end down there.
All right. Part of the Mosby political legacy, Don Mosby.
Yeah, you know me, don't you?
I know you, Mr. Mosby.
Hey, and you see that handicap things there?
Uh-huh.
I told them about that too.
Yeah.
See, when I was a committee there, if we needed that thing brought up, they would do it for me. But I'm not in the committee anymore. So you don't have a minute to say nothing. The next board, I called them out here and they got that whole side, they put one machine up for the handicap people.
Right.
You seen what I'm talking about, didn't you?
I was down there.
Hey, Dave came out here and looked at the picture. I put them signs there. I didn't put them signs for handicap road in Washington Square. See, they don't like me. Some of them think.
Yeah.
Some of them tell me.
Well, hopefully that's hopefully that's an issue they can get straightened out before the next election, for sure.
I'm going to try and...
I'm actually
One year we go law, everything like that. But see, I don't live in the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't vote for city elections.
Well, we're going to head over to Washington Square Mall and see what's going on there.
Good
Good to see you, Mr. Mosby. Take care.
Okay. Hey, it's good to see you guys.
And a Mosby grandchild here among us.
I'm going to grab it first.
Oh, okay, hello. Good to see you. All right.
Hop in place.
Hop in place. And I'm sure that we'll see more of the same at Washington Square Mall here in a minute. And Zach stopped to talk to Ryan Hatfield some more. Polls are open until 6 o'clock if you haven't already voted. It's 2:40 now.
Again, if you're looking for more information, courierpress.com/election centers. Then stick around, Sealer. Stick around for, we'll be back or stick with us at the election center. Later tonight, we'll provide live results for 16 races, including both president races, including the Senate primary, including both 8th district races,
Hit him, John. Hit him.
and all of the local undercard races, including the Democrat 77th representative race.
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning again. It can't hurt anyway. We have information at CourierPress.com Election Center about all of the, well, not all, but many of the down ballot races, such as for the state House of Representatives, for the state Senate, and for Vanderburgh County Commissioner. Those are all important offices, and obviously do not get anywhere near the attention the presidential race gets. So if you'd like to know more about where those candidates stand on different issues of importance to the region and the state, visit CourierPress.com/election center.
While I'm here, guys, I just got the noon report. Now, I know it's 2:40 in the afternoon. We're supposed to get a 2 p.m. report at some point. As of noon in this county, 6 hours into the election, we had 17,001 voter, not including early voters, which would put us up at 24,000 as of noon. And we still have totals for the last 6 hours of election day. So that's a pretty healthy turnout, I would say.
Now, one thing I wasn't clear on yesterday, that 7,700 figure for early voting, does that include absentees?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question, John, because absentees account, typically in the last few elections I've covered, absentees plus early voting accounts for a third of the total.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is including absentee, we could extrapolate that to, a 21,000 turnout, which we're already have blown out. So I'd almost assume that does not include absentee ballots, but who knows?
Might also mention on election night, the various candidates are going to be at different places, as will we. We'll be farmed out among the different gatherings that are going on. I believe the Republican Party tonight, usually for a general election, the Republican Party will use the Tropicana Event Center. They're not using that tonight. They're just going to gather at their headquarters on John Street, and I believe that the Democrats are meeting at Germania Manor Quarter tonight for the election evening
for
gathering.
The Vanderburgh on tap and the good times.
Presumably there won't be lederhosen unlike at the Folks Fest, but those are the two election night gatherings here for the Vanderburgh County Republicans and Democrats. And we're going to stop by Washington Square Mall here and see if there's the typical long lines and flurry of activity.
And make sure the Noble Romans is still open so I can get lunch.
Absolutely.
So I guess I got a message from a Courier and Press reporter that said that the clerk's website yesterday alerted people that there was an issue with the elevator, though if we're just talking about something it said yesterday, I don't know how many people can see that, especially people with handicap needs.
Well, and as Don Mosby was just telling us, I mean, it might seem like a small thing, but at the same time, you want to make voting as convenient as it can possibly be for all individuals. So hopefully either the elevator there can be fixed or they can find another polling place or voting center in the area before we have the general election in November.
Well, I'm in no position to offer a solution really, but it seems like that church had a main level. If they could have just rerouted the voting locations into the main level, I think you wouldn't need the elevator if it was a flat ground, but by having it in that dining area, you have to go down about 10 steps, which you can't do in a wheelchair or a motorized mobility device.
Sure. All right.
So Washington Square Mall, which is right up the road, very close, but...
And Zach lives in this area, so you can get Noble Romans pretty much whenever you like, right?
Whenever I like, John. That's how I like to live my life.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the Carousel?
I have once.
I've been in Evansville 15 years, and it's embarrassing to say I don't think I've ever made it to the Carousel.
Actually, my family, we had Thanksgiving dinner there about 2 years ago. We weren't in a state of being able to prepare dinner for ourselves because
they do a good
some
job.
life issues. And it was delicious. It was delicious.
Good.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
We're here now. We're going down the line of political signs, John's just going to park wherever he wants because that's what John Martin does.
Absolutely. Don't mess with me.
I see Henrietta Jenkins already.
Well, okay.
You're going to get all your State House candidates, John.
Yeah, we're going to get them all. That person's going the wrong way, but
That's how he lives his life, or her life.
that's exactly right. It looks like Ryan Hatfield, by way of volunteers, seems to have the largest volunteer force, just based on what we saw at the church we just left and here. Which falls in line with what we were saying earlier. He probably is the most politically connected among the Democrats running for state representative. And we'll hop out and see what's happening.
How long to this mall is all one giant bar? This time out loud.
Oh, this is
grows every month.
This is one of my favorite places in town. Not like Alvin Junction necessarily specifically, but Washington Square Mall is just a cool place in Evansville, I think. One of the first, if not the first mall in the state of Indiana, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true.
I just learned that Brett Michaels is coming to Casey's Timeout Lounge by looking at their doors.
Brett from Poison?
Brett Michaels. That's real. We're going real quick and then,
Sure.
No.
And there's Carla Hayden and Alex Schmidt.
you lead the way, John.
My old friend from several years ago.
We're doing a live stream.
You're on courierpress.com.
Oh, I am. Hi. Nice to meet you.
And I'm Noah Stubbs.
So Carla is running in a primary today for Vanderburgh County Clerk. Her opponent is Connie Carrier. The two Democrats who are running are Zachary Hieronymus. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And the other one is
Elliot Howard.
Elliot Howard. Elliot Howard. There's just a lot of names.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. Carla was deputy clerk under former clerk Marcia Abel. How are you doing? How's your day going today?
Oh, it's going okay. I've spent most of the day here at Washington Square Mall, and it's been a steady stream since before 6 o'clock this morning. The line was almost to the door when I got here at 5:45.
Does it behoove you to stay? Is this one voting place so busy that it just behooves a candidate to kind of camp out here?
It seems to. I had thought about going to a couple of the other frequented places and ended up just staying here today.
Well, we wish you well. Obviously, the county clerk has a lot of important responsibilities, among them running the election
Elections, yes.
and issuing marriage licenses and dealing with the court system and managing, about 50 or so employees?
Yes, a little over 50 employees, and as you said, the court's business is the majority of what that office does.
So big responsibility.
Yes.
Good luck to you.
Thank
See
you.
Alex Schmidt over here. We'll go talk to Alex as well.
He's politicking.
The activity is jumping here at Washington Square Mall.
As it usually is.
As it usually is. And Billy Garrett is here.
Yeah.
Another state representative candidate for District 77.
So we actually might get most of those candidates.
We might, yeah. And we'll talk to Alex Schmidt here as soon as he finishes visiting and trying to get another vote. Carla, well, we've been to the 4-H Center, and we've been to Nativity Church over here on the phone.
We're doing a live stream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm live.
Yeah. So this is Alex Schmidt, County Commission candidate, Republican. How's it going today?
Oh, we are swamped here. It's been steady. It was really, really busy this morning, but we've been just steady flow today. A lot of people have realized it's going to take 35 minutes to get through line, and they go to a different go to a different polling location.
Well, we have 21 other polling locations, so they have options, but this seems to be the most popular one.
Yeah.
So what are you hearing from people who voted? What are they saying to you?
Honestly, I just thank them if they've already voted and they're leaving. I just thank them for coming out today. I'm not an exit poll.
Has anybody taken your literature and just thrown it on the ground in anger and disgust?
Nobody has yet.
Yes.
Yes.
Today is still young.
Right.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Good too.
So have you gone anywhere else today?
No, I've been
So
here
this
since
is
6
home
a.m.
base?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And where are you going to be tonight for the vote totals?
GOP headquarters.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Once these close, we'll head over there.
Very well. Good luck today.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
Thanks, man.
Hey, see you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see you. Want to see Billy Garrett or Cheryl Musgrave first?
It's up to you.
Let's go to Cheryl Musgrave. CourierPress.com. Good to see you.
You're live on YouTube right now, so.
Hi, everybody.
We just talked to Alex Schmidt. We just talked to Carla Hayden, and this is Cheryl Musgrave. Obviously, Cheryl has been in public life here for quite a few years. Been county assessor, was county commissioner for a little while, 2.5 years before she was called to do something at the state level at the Department of Local Government Finance. So you're ready for how's your day been today?
Excellent. The voter turnout has been historic. Never seen this many people turn out, even for a general election. And I'm really excited to see everyone. I wish we could do this more.
Do you think that, obviously, there's no doubt that the presidential election is what brings people out.
Exactly.
Do you think that people, for the most part, will go down the ballot and complete the ballot?
I don't know. I think probably 15 to 25% of them will only vote for president and they'll leave. Many voters have told me that they didn't have enough information about the candidates down the ballot. I'm doing my best here.
Well, and from our standpoint, we hate that because we try.
I know you try. Well, just to help make you feel a little bit better, they're blaming the political parties for not having had information available.
Does it behoove a candidate to just stay in this location? Alex was just telling us he's been here pretty much all day. Have you been anywhere else?
No. I've stayed here all day,
Yeah.
and it's because the line started out being 20 minutes long at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's now grown to between 25 and 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal number of voters,
Yeah.
and so there's no reason to spend time on the road being anywhere else.
Well,
I do have family and friends at other polling places working for me.
Gotcha. You put Bob to work somewhere else?
Oh, yes, I did. He's done a little bit of roving around. But my daughter and her husband are here too, and also other friends.
All right. Well, Cheryl, good to talk with you. We'll catch up with you later on tonight, or someone will. And let's go talk to Billy Garrett, running for state representative.
Thank you.
Cheryl. Billy Garrett.
How's it going?
Good to see you. I'm John Martin. You met Zach. We're
John.
here from CourierPress.com.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Good to be here.
And Billy is on the Republican side running for state representative. We saw a couple of the Democrats earlier. How's your day been?
Oh, beautiful. I've been in before 5 o'clock. And I had 1,000 calls, all of them gone.
Okay.
Had 1,000 calls, had 100 door knockers, they gone. So now I'm down to one sign.
That's the one last sign, Bill?
This is it. I've given out everything.
Well, Billy, remind us a little bit about you. I know you're a pastor.
Well,
And
yeah, I'm a pastor. I don't have my own church though, so I think I better say associate minister.
Okay.
So my pastor's gonna get mad.
And you ran the C.K. Newsom Center at one
I
time?
ran the community center, C.K. Newsom, and also ran the Carver River Rotodrome for 5 years, and increased revenues at both buildings.
Okay. And why are you the best choice here? Why should folks vote for Billy Garrett?
I'm the most qualified and the most experienced. I've been a commitment. I've been a vice commitment. I was the ward leader out here for night 1, 2, and 3. This is night 1, 2, and 3. So I've had the most experience. I had 20 budget at the community center and the rolling drum. And like I said, I increased revenue. So I've done this before. I was an administrative specialist and I was a mechanic also in the Air Force. And I can just go on and on. But I'm the most qualified.
All right.
And I've been doing it the longest too.
And not your first rodeo?
Oh, no, not my favorite. And also I built 34 houses, most of them in the inner city. and got all of those people loans from Old National and Citizens when it was hard to get loans from low to moderate income people. And I provided our school supply for over 12,000 students for the last 21 years for Indiana Black Expo. In a program called Back to School Route. We give out free school supplies and tennis shoes. This will be my 21st year supplying school supplies for the inner city youth. I've been in this community 30 years. My record speaks for itself.
It's good to see you. We wish you well today. Are you going to be at the GOP headquarters tonight, or where will you be as you wait for the numbers to come in?
If the numbers get good, I might come down. Just not, if the numbers get good, and I don't want to show no disrespect, it's just the way they have treated us. They've taken money from all the Republicans to put into the Republican Party, and then they use our money to sabotage our campaign. So I'm really upset about that. If I didn't contribute, I wouldn't be upset. But every time something comes, I support the party, and that's just not fair. We all
We'll catch up with you later.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Great to see you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Are you Dave?
Vote
Good
Republican.
to see you. We're from the Courier and Press. And
I'm Noah.
And we're on YouTube, so no, watch your language. Good to see you. And you're running for the U.S. Congress.
That's correct.
David is a Democrat running for U.S. Congress in the 8th Congressional District. He has a primary today against a gentleman named Ron Drake. Where are you from? We were talking about you in the car earlier. You're from up in the Terre Haute
Terre
area?
Haute. Yep.
Okay.
And I teach at the medical school, IU Medical School there. Medical
Okay.
ethics is my main area.
Okay.
I trained in medicine and law and got interested in medical ethics, and I also teach other courses in healthcare law and constitutional law.
Okay. And have you ever run for office before?
Yeah, I was a state legislator from 2002 to 2008.
Okay.
And,
in the House?
Yeah, we worked on the same kinds of issues I'm concerned about today, creating good jobs. So I passed a bill to help make sure we have more funds for new companies to start up, and so they can stay in Indiana and grow. And I authored legislation to lower the cost of healthcare insurance. So it seems similar. It's just what I'm concerned about today.
So what made you want to run for Congress?
Well, I've been watching, it's been 8 years since I served, and I've been watching a frustration as Congress is facing a lot of important problems and they're not getting the job done. And I got tired of complaining, and I thought I want to get back in and try to make things better.
If you prevail today in your primary, you probably will be running against Congressman Bouchon.
That's correct.
Campaigns are, they don't want to fast forward too much, but campaigns are all about contrasts, and if that's how it comes out, if it's an Orrin Lichter versus Bouchon race, what will the contrast be?
Well, I think there are a lot of contrasts in terms of getting here. In the 6 years since he started serving, we've seen in the Evansville area that household income used to be above the state average. Now it's below the state average, and it's also below the national average, and we need to be going in the opposite direction. He wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act. I agree it's not ideal health care reform, but we don't want to roll back progress. We want to keep the increase in access to health care, and but we need to do more to cut costs. We also need to invest more in preventing health care. The Affordable Care Act is a small amount of money to prevent disease. He calls that a slush fund. I think it's one of the best parts of the Affordable Care Act. We need to increase that and invest more dollars in prevention.
Well, since your background is in healthcare and he's a physician, it will be interesting, if that's how it turned out, it will be interesting to hear you. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
for talking with us. We
Good
appreciate
luck
it.
today.
Glad we ran into you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming by.
What do you think, John?
Well,
I'm hungry.
Zach wants a Noble Roman's pizza.
You guys can continue your thing, but I'm going to go put in for a food order.
All right.
If you guys want to, don't feel obligated, but I am going to leave this live stream for lunch.
Well, let's leave the live stream for a little bit and leave the option open to possibly returning at some point later.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We will sign off for now. We'll catch you later, and vote today if you haven't.